pressed it. Good morning, good morning. Wait for some people to come and have a little look what we're doing. Good morning, that one person. 3 people, good morning. 4, good morning. I'll give it a minute or so for people to jump on. Good morning, Jessica. Hope you're well. 7 people, good morning. 9 people, good morning. Could we beat a record this morning? I think we've had about 40, nearly just under 50 people at once, which to some people is not a lot, but to us it's massive. Good morning to the 9 people, 10 people, good morning. Gillet, good morning. So we're going live this morning from Mijas in Spain. We've come away for a little break, a well-needed break, 5 nights away. 8 people, good morning. Just give it a minute or so before we start. This morning we're going to be touching on self-care, how it's important in recovery, not just in recovery, in life in general. We need to look after ourselves. I'm not an expert in this, you know, but a lot of time I don't look after myself properly. But we're just going to touch on the importance of it. I'm learning through difficult situations, through pain, that how important self-care is, especially in recovery. 19 people. I'm going to start in a minute, guys. Claire, good morning. Leslie, good morning. Sally Dudley, good morning. Shane Kimberley, good morning. So it's a sunny morning. I suppose it's sunny over in England, but it's a lovely morning in Mijas, Spain. Sharon, good morning. I'm going to start in a minute. I'm going to start now, I think, yeah. So good morning, everyone. My name's Mick. I work at Kickback Recovery. Kickback Recovery is a registered charity based in Sheffield, supports people in and around Sheffield with addiction problems, alcohol problems, dual diagnosis. That means people with mental health issues along with alcoholism addiction. And we also support their affected family members. And we do that through a program of connection, spiritual principles and connection. We're not a 12-step fellowship. We are not a religious group. Some people have faith, some people don't, and that's all right. So it's a peer-led. We are a LERO, a lived experience recovery organisation. That's what we're really buzzing about, because it's been noticed, or it has been noticed now in the, the government are noticing the importance of one addict helping another, and you know that we've lived it and we've got to experience it, and we share our hope through our recovery, through what we talk about, and this is what Kickback's about. I mentioned we're not a 12-step fellowship, but we kind of working around the 12 steps of, the 12 step of carrying that message of recovery. Kickback, we make it visible. We celebrate recovery. We don't hang about and live in the shadows. We share our recovery, make it visible, and we celebrate it. And we do that through, like what I'm doing today. I've come on social media, making myself vulnerable, but I'm proud of that. I'm proud to be a recovering addict. I'm not in active addiction anymore. I'm not acting out in negative behaviours. I'm doing positive things, and this is one of the positive things I'm doing. I work at Kickback Recovery. I carry that message of recovery in all I do, my primary purpose. And what we're doing at Kickback is these live recovery hours. So every Tuesday, 9:30 till 10:30, we're going live. We're talking about topics around addiction, recovery, mental health stuff, and what's happening in our lives today. So what it's about, guys, is getting you guys involved as well. So if you want to comment and get involved, share it, like it. What we're hoping to do is get 23,000 followers. We're on just over 22,600. But with your help, you guys inviting other people, other recovery groups to like our page, to get involved, jump on our live sessions, which is Recovery Hour with myself, the Recovery Hour with Mick Hartley. So we need somebody to help us get a bit of a jangle going so we can press a little button and play some what I've just kind of spoke about, or mentioned. So we're going to touch on So where we're at is before, but this is our 4th week of going live. So we do recovery hour 9:30 till 10:30 on Tuesdays. We do a live recovery education, which is every Thursday afternoon. We start at 5:30, we go to 6:30. And we do a recovery live education Friday afternoons, 2 o'clock till 3 o'clock. That's just a small part of what Kickback Recovery do. We do one-to-one clinics, Zoom meetings. Sally's going to jump on, sorry about that. Sally's going to put all the details on it, the times and dates, our Kickback Recovery activities and what we do. Sorry about this. While I'm talking, I'm just going to show you around. I'm just going to jump up. I'm just going to show you around what I can see. So this is from our lovely hotel. Look at those views out there. So we're up in the mountains, a place called Mijas. Down there you can see all the busy commercial stuff. We had a little look down there, but years ago, I'd be up for that. We went down to Marbella, down to Portimonense for a few hours when we first got here. And years ago, I'd be up for that. You know how busy, all the la-di-da stuff, you know, the materialistic stuff, big boats, money. Used to call it the millionaire's playground, but 70s, 80s, that type of thing. Today, life's totally different for me. I want to get out of the way. I want to get somewhere quiet. I want to get my head down. I want to enjoy my recovery. I worked hard for a life that I've got today. You know, I'm a bit older these days. 52. What? Only 52? Yeah, 52. 53 in October. But, you know, I'm feeling good. You know, I put a lot of weight on. You know, by not using drugs and that, you know. Part of my drug using was I was obsessed with weight, so the stimulants that we're using, I kind of, in my deluded thinking, I incorporated it into my diet plan, you know, whatever we're using, whatever we're sniffing or smoking, class A stuff, you know, I weren't eating, you know, I'd use it as part of a weight loss plan, you know, I didn't eat for days, you know, and then when I did come off it, I'd eat a load of crap to give me some nice feelings, because I was feeling down, I was feeling exhausted, deflated, you know, a big come down. So I'd eat pizzas and crap that you do, that we've all done, haven't we, to feel better, put the weight back on, and this carousel, this non-stop using drugs, eating, all addiction, based around addiction stuff. It were all like fixing feelings, whether it were food, sex, drugs, relationships, people, places, things, whatever it were, like we have done in past. It were all around feelings, trying to fix feelings or give me feelings when I didn't, or change feelings, the feelings I were feeling when they weren't that nice. You know, I changed them by picking a drink up, picking a drug up. Thank you, Shane. It's really nice to have Shane, you know, like paying an interest in what we're doing. And yeah, Shane works in this type of line of work. And thank you, Shane. You know, I'm really proud of what you're doing and how well you've done, and it's brilliant. Sally Reedman, yeah, Sally. Sally's helping us out. She's our company secretary, so she's with me today. You know, she helps out with the live stuff. She's really brought Kickback to the front since she's jumped on board. She's a clever lady, you know, and she's, yeah, thank you, Sally, for all you do, yeah. So right, let's go back. So this is 4th week Kickback Recovery Live stream. So what we're trying to do, we want to get Facebook, we're kind of working with Facebook, and we want them to give us an opportunity at stars. You'll have seen it on other pages, where people can, if they wanted to, donate by buying these stars, and we are a registered charity. So we're not going to beg for that, but it's just an option. If anybody is watching it, say you can buy some stars. These stars go straight into our Kickback Recovery, which is a registered charity bank account. It's all official. There's nobody fiddling money or stuff like that. So everything's accounted for. We've got trustees, some really good trustees, and we've got a management team, and we're all professional. But to build this charity and keep on doing what we're doing, especially working in the Sheffield City Centre, we're paying rent, which is quite expensive. So we're paying our own way, but obviously to keep this rent being paid, we do have people writing funding bids, but we want to be raising our own money as well. So this going live is an opportunity for people, if they wanted, they could press a donate button or buy some stars. It all goes back into the pot, and we can get the word out there. So we, like I said, we're going 3-4 times a week live, and it's brilliant. I'm sat here thinking, well, I'm making, you know what I mean, I'm making a fool of myself. This is what my head tells me from time to time. Well, I've got to forget all that. I've got to let that go. Whatever I'm doing, I'm trying my best to bring Kickback Recovery into the future, you know, into a place where we're as good as any other fellowship or any other charity or any other group, which we are. We're not saying we're the best, but we're always as good as. and we get some good results. We've got a lot of members, service users on board, and it's really good. And I've took some time out today for self-care, and this is what we're going to be touching on. So for many years, I came out of recovery, my second rehab. I got 7.5 months clean. I relapsed. I weren't working in program properly. I was going to NA, AA and CA. I had a sponsor, but I weren't doing what really was suggested because I still had some of that old way. I didn't surrender properly. I still had my old self saying, well, try it this way, do it this way. I weren't working boundaries. I had one foot in one camp, in the recovery camp, and I had another foot in, let's say, for me, a bit of Jack the Lad camp, where I still wanted to get up to old behaviours. I still had this deluded thinking that I could be doing a bit of this, a bit of that, and not use. But what I found is by having drugs around me, the temptation was too much. You know, I weren't working with program properly. So if I were having drugs around me, I were holding on to drugs, which I thought I might be able to sell to make a, this is years ago, this, over 7 years ago, I might be able to sell and make a bit of money. That all caught up with me, and I couldn't have nothing around me. What happened to me, I'm just trying to keep this camera straight, what happened to me is, every time I had something like that, I think I'll have one little line, I'll just try it, I've got to try it, I've got to test it to see what quality it is. I'd have one line, and you know that saying, well, one too many and 1,000 never enough. It was that, you know, I got a taste of something, and I just couldn't stop till it had all gone. And then I'd owe money out to drug dealers, and it was just that non-stop cycle of doing that. So I went back to NA, I started working my program again, I fully surrendered. Not fully surrendered, but I surrendered enough, you know, to get myself clean. For me, when I talk about surrendering fully, I had to, through these relapses and lapses, I had to experience a lot more pain, a lot more misery, a lot more upset. And this camera keeps moving around, so Sally's gone to try and get something to hold it better. So I had to experience a lot of that till I finally got myself in a really big mess again. For me, I turned to a group. We're not a 12-step fellowship. I turned to a church group. I went there on Sundays. We're not a religious group, but God is mentioned from time to time. And I've got my story, and it's just, I prayed a lot. I asked Jesus to come into my life, because all else had failed. Everything I tried before had failed. You know, I tried everything. But I always ended up using, I always ended up sat in a mucky mess, my own mess, you know. And I just turned my will and my care of my life over to God. I asked God to come in and take over, because my way of thinking always got me in trouble. My will always got me in trouble. You know, so I asked God to come in, and His will, not my will. And it's worked. I never look back. And if anybody is out there struggling and try it. You know, if it's worked for me, it's worked for a lot of other people as well. Why won't it work for you? And that we're coming to a point where all else had failed, you know, everything, you know what I mean? So I just tried that. Asked God to come into my life, take over, you know, hand over my will, let thy will be done. I'm not preaching, it might come across as I'm preaching, I'm not, I'm just sharing my story. And I've never looked back. I keep that contact, conscious contact going every day. I pray quite a lot. I ask for His guidance and help me stay clean, help me do something I can't on my own. And that's what's happened for me. And people probably might be watching this and knowing me 10, 15 years ago thinking, blimey, that guy's lost the plot. But it's not losing the plot. If anything, I'm winning. I've gained a lot. I ain't lost anything. I've just gained everything. So I'm sitting here today, clean, not using drugs, no desire to use drugs whatsoever, no desire to watch porn, no desire to do whatever, go and get up to any criminal activities. I'm happy with my lot. And I tell you what, I'm not happy with all this camera that keeps moving about. Sally, let's have a go at this. Right, we're just going to try something. Right, move that. I don't think that's going to work. Right, let's try that.
Little straws.
Go on, put them there. Right, I'm just going to have to stick with that. It's a bit high, but right.
Lift this then slightly.
Just 1 minute, guys. Be patient. Keep watching.
There.
Right, let's have a little look at that. I think that's all right. Yeah.
If
everybody can hear me, can you put thumbs up if you can hear me? Put a little like on it. Do whatever. So yeah. So let's get cracking then. So yeah. So came out of the rehab, started working recovery program, experienced relapses and lapse. Not really looking after myself. Came to a place where I needed my will over. So yeah, so I've got a bit of abstinence going into like a year. I've got a year clean. and working this program. It's all about then. It's like, right, so I've got this recovery. I've got this message to carry. I want to save the world. I want to show everybody or talk about recovery to everyone. Everybody will listen to me about recovery. 100 mile an hour. Not really thinking about myself. It weren't about me. We talk about these selfless acts. Yeah, I'm into all this stuff. I want to help this still suffering addict by carrying the message. I want to set a community group up, which I did. I set Kickback Recovery up as a community group. Thanks, Emily Rutter. Lovely. Sharon Tomlinson, lovely to see you. Leaf Waits is watching. Kerry, we're all missing you, Kerry. Thank you for letting us know the volume's all right. Steve Donoghue, good morning. So I set a community group called Kickback Recovery, and it's all about carrying the message of recovery. We're putting meetings on at a local boxing gym. We're very grateful for that. They give us an opportunity. From there, we moved down to Cathedral Archer Project. We were down there 5 days a week, helping really vulnerable people, homeless people, addiction problems, mental health. And Kickback just took off and it started doing really well. Lots of volunteers. And we look back, our Kickbacks evolved organically, kind of evolved over the years. And it's brilliant. So we'll be celebrating 5 years in November. 2 years of that being an actual registered charity, and that's what we are. So if anybody ever wanted to donate to a charity, a local charity, if you're doing well in business, a bit of corporate responsibility type of thing, giving something back. If you're having it off in one of your businesses, your property company, or whatever you're doing, your security company, or whatever you're up to, and you feel like, becoming a bit corporate, I think it's called corporate responsibility. You want to give something back to the community, share it, and that's what you could do to us. We do have people who sign up once a month. Some people are donating £100 out of the limited company or whatever the self-employed stuff, and that helps us. That helps pay our rent. It pays everyday running costs. I have to keep dropping this in. So I've got it in my head. I want to save the world, 100 mile an hour. I'm not having a day off. Working 7 days a week, never turning my phone off. People saying to me who work in this kind of industry, saying, listen, you need a work phone, you need to separate work from even your Facebook, separate Facebook from your personal stuff, from your work stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I should, but I weren't listening. I was just, no, I'm gonna do it my way. I can save the world, I can save all these people. To be honest, when I look back, I was struggling looking after myself. So I went like that for a good few years. Always answering telephone to people, no matter what time it was. If I couldn't answer it then, I get back to them first thing in the morning. It kind of got involved with relationships. It got involved with family life with my son. Excuse me. Every time I was with my son, we were doing something. Phone would ring, whether it was hands-free, I'd answer it. My son were looking at me like, Dad, what you doing? These people. We're working with lots of poorly people. And I was poorly, still am quite often. Today's a good day, but I don't know what tomorrow's going to be like or the day after. But today I'm grateful that I'm in a good place. But I've only got just for today, and that's what I've always got to remember. Grateful for today, grateful for where I am. But that can all change. Life could throw an event at me. I can be challenged quite often with life stuff. Every now and then, if it does, I can go back to that default setting where things do get really challenging. I'll think, right, I don't like feeling like this. So I'll go back to, well, if you get some cocaine, if you get some crack, I could be gone for days, I'm putting weight on, I put a few stone on, or I've just lost a couple of stone, but I did, I'm in my head, I'm thinking, well, I could lose this weight quite quickly if I have a month back on it, but I can't do that today, I'm committed to Kickback Recovery. I'm working in a management position where I can't do that, I've got to look at things differently, so when life does throw its stuff at me, I've got to think, right, what am I going to do? I'm going to have to pick the phone up. I'm going to have to talk to a trustee. I'm going to have to talk to a good friend, my sponsor. I'm going to have to talk to somebody I can talk it through. I've got to sit with my feelings. That's what I've got to do. This soon shall pass. I've got to sit with them while acting out, using a substance to change the way I feel. I've really just got to, it's a process. I've got to work through that process and feel it all. I'm all right in here. Sorry. I've got to feel all that process. And just work through it, and that's what I do. And when I get through it, sometimes it can be lasting for weeks, and by the grace of God, I get through it, and I look back and I think, wow, I've got through that. I ain't used on it. A relationship's broke down, a friendship's broke down. It's got challenging at work. Is it all worth it? What I'm better off living in that life of using, where I can numb things, temporarily numb feelings. They always come back, probably double. procrastination, you know, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do this, you know, all that. I work through all that stuff, and that's what I do. And I do it today without the use of drugs. And it's brilliant, because when I do eventually get through it, I've got that freedom. I look back and I think, wow, if I got through that, then I can get through anything. Why would I want to ever use again, no matter what happens? You know, if I lost somebody I really, really love, you know what I mean? Out of respect, I never use on that anyway, because I really wouldn't. You know, if I lost a loved one, which at some point in my life I am going to, somebody close is going to pass away. Somebody close did pass away a year and a half ago. I didn't use on it. You know, I didn't have the best relationship when I was younger with that person. But what I did learn, and this is, so I grew up with somebody, and a lot of time there was a lot of arguing, an older person in my life. You know, an adult, you know, I had a lot of resentments towards them over the years. I used on them resentments from when I was 12-year-old. I was still using on them for resentments at 47. You know, these feelings I had, this anger. Why did this happen? Why did that happen? You know, and that person passed away, you know, and I never thought, to be honest, I thought when that person would pass away, I wouldn't have no feelings. You know, the person passed away within 12 hours of that person passing away. I did feel some loss, you know, and I went away, and I said to Sally, I was away, we've been away for 5 nights now, and it were a couple of days ago, and I said, you know what, I really miss this person. I really miss it. Whether we argued, whether we have years of resentments or whatever, the person's gone. I'd love to have 10 minutes with that person just to say how much I loved him, and I'm sorry. You know, that's what recovery's given me. It's given me a place where I can do that, you know, where I can reflect back, you know, and I don't know, grieve a bit. Sally, did you want to say something?
Sharon has asked, did you have any cognitive behavioural therapy yourself or any other therapy?
Not for me, that, Sharon. I tried a little bit of it. You know, I did a little course on that. But it's not for me, that stuff. I tell you what I'm about to do, Sharon. I'm working with a place called Share Psychotherapy. So that I'm still working on myself. And if anybody, you know, I'm 52, I've mentioned I'm 52. And I thought, right, still this stuff, what I just spoke about, stuff that I kind of experienced when I was 12-year-old, stuff that I used on resentments. I rebelled on all this stuff. I got myself in through juvenile courts, in and out of juvenile courts. I was in prison at 16. I had 4 other prison sentences after that, all rebelling on this resentment towards this certain person, and rebelling against any authority. That's my pen just broke that. Rebelling against any authority or establishment, that type of thing. I lived like that for years, and fighting the system, you know, and eventually that fighting the system exhausted me. I come knackered, tired, worn out. And then it took a long time for me to realise that I can't fight the system. I can't win. You know, I know if we think we can, but for me, I realised I had to surrender, and just surrendered to it all. And but for me, Sharon, I'm doing this. I'm just starting this Share Psychotherapy. That's a charity itself. I did sit down with a lady, and I had an hour with her. But after an hour with her, I decided that the lady, she was good at what she did, but she weren't experienced enough for my stuff. You know, I was quite complex. The stuff that I wanted to I'm a complex person, you know, and so I'm just waiting for a new lady to come along. I am on the top of the priority. I got a phone call yesterday, to be honest. So that's the road I'm going down. I want to explore certain things, expand on certain stuff, dig deep about stuff, childhood stuff, the inner child stuff, what went on for me, and how I processed it, or I need to talk about certain things. I need to not to put a label on anything around mental health. I'm not in it to try and get a label on it and say this is what I've been diagnosed with. It's not for that. It's just to work through certain things and look at it from different angles, and hopefully get some closure on it, to just let go of it. And that's what it's all about, acceptance for me, letting go and forgiveness. That's the program I have to work. But I still want some answers, you know. And I did a bit of that when I was in my second rehab. I did a deep, thorough step 4 and a step 5 with a counsellor, myself and God type of thing. And I got some answers, but there's still some answers. For me, that step 4 and step 5 stuff were, they say in a treatment centre, when you do a good step 4, in it's a step 5 thing, it's like taking a rucksack off for all a weight or a lifetime of whatever you built up. If you do that, get through that step 4 and 5 stuff, you're taking that rucksack off and walking away a lot lighter. For me, I didn't get that experience. I felt more like it were a fire that had been poked, you know, that were just like cinders, and that working on that stuff poked the fire and all the flames come back up. And it left me with a lot of feelings again, you know, so this stuff I've still got to work through. So I hope you got something out of that, Sharon. And we'd love to see you again. We're missing you. Anybody else, any other questions?
Just lots of people saying that it's relatable, and that you must put you first, and thank you for what you're doing.
Yeah, so I'm bouncing around a bit today. I do apologise, guys, because we are kind of on holiday and stuff. But I still thought we've got to keep going with this recovery hour. We've started it, so no matter where we are, we keep going with this recovery hour, you know. So it's every Tuesday, 9:30 till 10:30. All right, and then so for me these days, through pain, experience of like, and it took a good few years for me to be kind of burn myself out again. That I'm in recovery. I'm not really listening to anybody. I'm using my phone for personal stuff. I'm using my phone for work stuff. I'm helping everybody as much as I could. In that process, I'm not helping myself really. I'm not having no days off. You know, I'm working through it all. That then put me in bed for a few days with depression and stuff like that. And I get myself well, and then I get back out there and do it all again. So that were another kind of cycle that were happening to me. I'm still not listening. And it's took me about 5 years to get to this point now where this is the first holiday I've had in over 7 years, a proper holiday. And I've took some time out, but I'm still doing this. But I'm flying home tonight, so... And it's just so important looking after yourself. Taking that time out, you know, to recharge your batteries. And it's so important. And if we don't, if you're like me, it'll end up putting me in bed. One of the good things by coming into recovery and in active addiction, so I'm using all the time. I had decades of using Class A's, and in the last decade, really using big amounts and going for over weeks without sleep and food and not cleaning myself and not looking after myself. And a lot of people have done that, but you know, some people haven't. You know, the way I use drugs quite aggressively. And I say industrial amounts, and it's big amounts. I'm not going to whatever. It's not a place. I'm not doing it for a place to show off. I'm just sharing for me. I had the money. I had access to certain drugs. I had the time. I had the place to do it, and I had a bank account where I could just keep dipping into it. I ain't now, but I could keep dipping into it and buying big amounts, and I wouldn't stop till it all gone. And that stuff. Girlfriends I were with at the time, they reached out for help. Phone people, and the people that we're talking to, the drug workers or whatever, say, well, sooner or later it's going to run out of money. It's going to run out, and it weren't that for me, because I thought I'd done really well in business. I probably had, but what happened to me is I became a victim of my own success, where this obsession for money, this obsession to do well, and I keep saying it, I just thought it were all around ambition. I'm so ambitious, you know, I'm blessed with this ambition. That where somebody has probably stopped work at 6 o'clock, I'd carry on until 9, 10 o'clock at night. I'd go the extra mile. I'd travel an extra whatever, where some people say, I'm not driving all the way down there for whatever. I said, come on, I'd already set off. You know, I were on it, and I thought I were ambitious. But when I look back, when I've learned about addiction, it was all addiction. We were all addicted to money, to power, to just greed. Just wanting more and more, no matter what it were. A better girlfriend, a better watch, a better house, a better... You know, always on the lookout for something bigger or better. And that, I thought was a blessing, because I thought it's ambition, and it's not. When I look back, it were a curse. You know, I became a victim of my own success, and I became just a really horrible, selfish person. I just want to use drugs all the time and do it on my own, in my own little world, in my own fantasy world. And that, we're talking about, well, just touching on self-care. I know I'm bouncing around a bit, but there was no self-care there. You know, I just wanted to stay high, and that come at a cost where I weren't washing, I weren't brushing my teeth, I weren't keeping my house clean. My house were clean, but the room I was using in were like a bloody bombs hit it. You know what I mean? There were stuff everywhere. You know, I would have been embarrassed if somebody would have come in to see how I was living. You know, I once saw this picture of a guy called Pete Doherty, And it showed you his room, and I was absolutely disgusted how somebody could live like that. I think there were shit up walls and needles and drug paraphernalia everywhere. And I looked round one day, and I looked at my room where I were, and it weren't far. In fact, it could have been a lot worse than his room. And I thought, wow, how's this happened? You know, the drugs I were using, I thought it was a sort of social drug, a party drug, drugs that people used when they did well, a bit of status. You know, it put me in a room on my own, isolated, not watching, obsessed watching porn, sticking needles in there, you know, crack pipes, you know, stop using. And I was looking around, I ain't slept for a week, I ain't slept for 9 nights. How's this happened? You know, tonight I'm going to sleep, I'm going to have this last line and go to sleep. Then it'd be another night without sleep, and it was like, what is that? What has happened to me? Sally, any?
Kerry's just put, this is so important, Mick. Thank you for your honesty. For me, it's a daily reprieve contingent on taking my remedy. If I miss a dose, I'm in trouble. Addictive behaviours have ruled her life too. Thank you for all you do.
Oh, thank you, Kerry. Kerry, and we are missing you. We're missing Sam as well. We sure, you know, these kickbackers, we're missing you. It's not saying without you. Self-care. So we talk about, I'm just going to bounce it around even more. So get ready, hold on. We're going to hold on for the ride. We're so self-care. For me, there's not a day off in recovery. That's why I'm on holiday now and I'm doing this. I'm going to do an hour of this. This helps me. It's a two-way street. I'm sharing some of my stuff. It's a reminder for me what I'm talking about, because I can not forget it sometimes, but I can think, not so much think I've got it boxed off. I'm coming up to 6 years of abstinence. I ain't smoked a crack for coming up to 6 years. I had a line of class A for coming up to 6 years. I'm not obsessed with a porn no more. I'm living a good life. And I don't forget that, but this is a reminder, as I'm sharing it, it reminds me that I can have all that back, all this stuff that I'm talking about, I can have that back tomorrow. I only have to start using today. I only have to nip down to Portobello or something and score, you know, get on it in an apartment. By tomorrow, I'm an absolute lunatic. I'm full of psychosis. I'm paranoia. I'm not getting on a flight home because I'm too paranoid to get on that flight, go in that airport. I'll stay here. I'll get on it till my money's gone. You know, that's a reminder, you know, every day we have to do something positive for recovery every day. And if it means ringing somebody up, talking to your sponsor, going to a meeting, doing a bit of exercise, doing a bit of meditation, doing whatever it takes, going for some therapy, coming to Kickback Recovery, watching something like this, you know what I mean? There's good opportunities for you guys to connect. It's all about connection at Kickback. We're connecting back into the community. Leaving that isolation that I've just touched on, leaving that isolation of locked up in a bedroom on a hot day with curtains shut and windows locked and stuff like that when it's 30 odd outside. You know, I've lived that, you know, not breathing. You know, and then people are thinking, well, I take cocaine or I use cocaine. That don't happen to me. Carry on, guys or girls, whatever. Carry on using it. At some point, you will get a bonus at work. You'll cop for some holiday money. You'll have whatever. You'll come into a bit of money. Or you'll come into a contact with somebody with some good gear or whatever. You get into it, start using it, you know, and that will happen to you. You know, you're not different to anybody else. You get into it properly, and it'll happen. It might not happen overnight, but it'll happen over time. You keep playing about with it, and the drugs will have the last laugh. If you think you're using drugs, but in the end, the drugs will use you, and that's what they did to me. And I had to dig deep. Make that decision to change my life, and it's all about change. So anybody thinking about it, you know, still messing about, thinking, oh, I'm in recovery, I come to Kickback, I'm on page, or do whatever, but really you're still using. Wake up, right? Make that decision. Come and get a bit of what I've got. I've got a life today. I don't use drugs. I don't want to use drugs. I've got a job today. I'm working at Kickback. I'm blessed. I've just started getting some wages. I'm so grateful for that. I worked 5 years for nothing. I sold 2 houses. With the profit from the houses, I lived off them. I couldn't claim any benefits because I had some savings and stuff and some equity in houses. So I had to live off my own money. That's what I did. I spent it. I didn't invest it in any other business. I invested it in myself. I invested it in a charity called Kickback Recovery. I put my own money. I put my money where my mouth was. And at some points in that, I thought, what am I doing? Is this crazy? People turning against you, people making up rubbish about you, trying to blacken your name. Yeah, you know what I mean? I'm in early recovery myself. You know, I made mistakes. I own those mistakes. Today, I'm living a good life. You know, I've learned from them mistakes. You know, I'm doing the next right thing. I'm trying to help people. I'll never be perfect. I'm a human being. But I'm trying my best, and I'm trying to help a lot of people. And we've got some good volunteers at Kickback who help me and help themselves. So anybody thinking about, come on, make that decision, make that right. This is it, I'm doing it. And what am I changing? What are you going to change? You're going to change everything. You're going to grow a pair of balls, right? You're going to cut ties with certain people. You don't have to be horrible with people. Be polite, say, this is what I'm doing with life now. I'm not using drink no more. I'm not using drugs no more. People like me and you can't use drink or drugs successfully because it all ends in tears, pain, loss. We make a mess of everything, right? Make that decision. Get yourself to a Kickback meeting. Get yourself to an NA meeting. Get down to your local drug services. Go to your GP. Get honest with them. Don't be scared. You know what I mean? Change fills you with fear. You know what I mean? When you talk about change, it's all the future stuff. What's life going to be without drinking and drugging? Where am I going to go? Who am I going to hang about with? Life's going to be pretty quiet if I'm not in them pubs and clubs. If I'm not going around to my friends, I'm not drinking, I'm not using. Or if you're not even having them use ups on your own, because you know them use up on your own fill a time slot, don't they? You know what I mean? They get you through the weekend or whatever. Forget all that. Sit with yourself. Reach out. Come and get involved with the like-minded. Come and get some of this stuff going off that we've got, and we get through anything without using. You know what I mean? Through anything, but we can't do it on our own. I can't do it on my own. I need help from other people. I need help from my sponsor. I need help from Sally, company secretary, and the other trustees. I need guidance. I need reading in at times. I can get carried away quite a lot. You know what I mean? I need good people around me who will rein me in at times, make me accountable, you know, challenge me, you know, and that's why I do to other people as well. You know, I can't do this stuff on my own. I need people to help me along the way. Have we got any questions?
Neith Rates has just put, well done, Mick, you're always telling the truth. You help other people get well. You're always wearing your heart on your sleeve, and you've helped him so much. You love him, my friend. So I think around that really about, you know, is honesty important? Honesty
is important. But the depth of honesty is kind of up to you. I'm really honest. You know, sometimes, a lot of time I do probably overshare. You know what I mean? Make myself really vulnerable. But you know what? I'm proud of my recovery. I am a grateful recovering addict. I'm celebrating recovery. You know, I love it. Look where I am now. Yeah, I'm in a good place. You know, I'm coming home tomorrow. Well, later on tonight, I'll be home tomorrow. My son's birthday is coming up. My son's 18th birthday next month. You know, wow, I can celebrate it with him. I can sit with him. You know, I remember when he was first born. Just before he was born, I was using. And I used to say to his mum, you know what I mean, when my son's born, that's it, it's done. You know, how many times have I said stuff like that? You know, after this weekend, I'm never going to use again. When my son's born, I'm never going to use again. This is like 18 years ago, you know, when my son's born. You know what I mean? But it was never enough, and I love my son. But even when he was born, it was never enough to stop me using, because addiction were a lot powerful than that. I was powerless, you know, whether I'm a newborn baby smiling at me, you know what I mean? It were the time when I could get to use, I'd use it, and you know, that's how powerful addiction is. You know, there's been people, some really sad, I'm not even going to go into it, you know, where people have just walked away from families and that type of stuff to use drugs. But that's a story for another time. Anybody else?
Ashley's saying she's almost clean. She's done almost 7 years now. No alcohol, no rocks, no cocaine. And there was a question earlier on which I can't quite get back to, but it was a lady called Sharon, and she said she's got a friend who's hoping to detox. He's in a mess, but he's thinking about going abroad to do it. Would you recommend that?
First, Ashley. Ashley, well done. I've known Ashley a long time. Can people see me all right with his sunlight? Should I go inside?
I think for self-care, you need to move. It's a bit
I'm just going to show everybody what we're looking at as well, if you can see. Is that right there? Yeah. Is it? Come on, senorita. Right, it's getting really warm in there. Out there.
Here you go.
Right, let's go.
It was a little bit high.
Thanks for everybody's patience. Right, so Ashley, well done.
That's better.
What was the other question? About somebody about going away abroad. I don't know, really. I'm not that experienced. A good friend of mine did go to South Africa. A very good friend of mine, I'm not mentioning his name. He went to South Africa to get clean. He was addicted to cocaine. He went over there for a couple of months, came back and he swore by it. And when I was in my mess, when I were struggling, a good friend of mine, I'm not mentioning his name, he kind of got in touch with that same rehab in South Africa, and the main guy from the rehab rang me up, and he spoke to me, and he did give me some hope. And my good friend said, right, I'm going to pay for the flights to get you out there. But I weren't ready. So what I'd say for the person who's thinking about going abroad, whatever, make sure that you're ready, because it's a long way to go. If you're not that ready to give up yet, you've still got a bit more using left in you, you're not ready, you might be going to please other people, girlfriends and family, but you know deep down if you want it or if you don't want it. And if you're not ready for it, why waste other people's money if other people are paying for you? Why waste your own money, yeah? You know, just wait till you're truly ready, that you've had enough, you know what I mean? I'm not, try other things, get to an NA meeting, a kickback meeting, an AA meeting, whatever, get down to your drug services, you know, go and sit down with some PSI stuff, sit down with somebody who knows what they're on about, just get honest, maybe a bit of counselling, you know, it depends, I don't know what's happening for you, why you're using or why not you're using, or, yeah, anything else?
Just on top of that, Kerry's added, wherever you go, you will always take you.
Exactly, Kerry. That's the thing, isn't it? No matter where I'm here today, it's beautiful. You know, last night Maya broke my arse for an hour. You know, because you know, if I don't get enough sleep, if I don't get enough rest, enough hydration, exercise, you know, wherever you go, you could go to Barbados or Bermuda or whatever. You're still taking your head with you. It's an inside job. We might as well stay at home and do it, because you know, it's an inside job. You know, that's. Yeah, well done, Kerry. It's good to hear that, yeah. Anybody else? Richard Mills, welcome. Hello. Good pal. Miss you, pal. Any other questions?
Not questions, just people saying don't get burnt, Mick.
Hey.
Ashley saying well done to you. It's not easy. People don't know. We are stronger. Kerry's added she spent nearly £10,000 on rehab and relapse because she hadn't fully surrendered.
And that's what it's about, guys. It's surrendering. We just talked about it. If you're not ready as yet, you know, you've got to be really, really ready. You've got to be sick and tired of being sick and tired and had enough. You know, there's always, for me, to be honest, there is another use up in me. Definitely another use up, you know, if I wanted to go out and use, but there's not another recovery. And I've heard that said by other people. And I'm at a place now, I can't go back to rehab again. I haven't got it in me. I could have a use up. I could go out and have a blast, you know, and wake up well, I probably won't sleep, but come round after a good few hours at it and think, what have I done? How much money have I spent? Look at the mess I've made. I've messed kickback recovery up. I've let certain people down. I can't share as I'm sharing because I've relapsed. I've got to start again. I ain't got that in me. I've got to go. I come back to go back to an anonymous fellowship and pick my first a white key ring up. I couldn't do that. That's not in me. I couldn't go to rehab again, go back to a 12-step rehab. I said, listen, I messed up and start again. I ain't got that left in me. I ain't got that energy. I've come too far. And for anybody who is considering picking up again, don't do it. You know, pick up the telephone, talk to other people. You know, it's just not worth it. We've got a few people around us at the moment, you know, picked up. You know, some kids who I love, some friends. You know, it hurts. You know, I'm talking on telephones and then they're turning the phones off and doing the same stuff that I used to do. It hurts, that you know, that ripple effect when we get close to people. And there is some affected family members on here. Sharon is an affected family member. I hope you don't mind saying that, Sharon, as she's still knocking about. You know, Sharon could write a book on it, you know, the ripple effect that addiction has, ripping families apart. You know, they feel it. You know, a mom feels all the misery and pain and, you know, seeing her own son use and make a mess of things. You know, it's heartbreaking. Anybody else?
Jessica has just put, she totally agrees with you, Mick. You can't get clean for anyone else, only yourself.
That's it. You know, you've got to be, let's talk about this self-care stuff, because I've gone way off track with it and that. So let's self-care and looking after yourself. So you come into recovery, you get some abstinence, you get some clean time. Let's say you've got 6 months. You've got 6 months without using drinking drugs. You're feeling great. You're looking great. You've got all these people, all these people that are saying how well you look. And you're buzzing off it and you're doing everything that's suggested. You go to all your meetings and you're starting to help people. You know, we can get carried away with it. I did. So what you've got to remember, this is what I said to newcomers, service starts with self. So we talk about service. Service is a big part of 12-step stuff. It's part of your 5 ways of well-being. You know, we help other people. We feel good out of that. You know, how many times have you helped somebody for nothing? You've give them a ring, you see if they're all right, you've gone shopping with them, you've helped them with next door neighbours, you've cut a privet or whatever, and you've got that feeling she's tried to give you a tenner or whatever, and you've said, no, I don't want it, and you've got that feeling, nice one, Sharon, for that, I don't mind at all, thank you. You've got that feeling of, I did something good today. You know, it's a nice feeling, isn't it? So that's what you're doing in recovery. You help the newcomer. You might meet him for a coffee in town. You might talk about your strengths in recovery, your experience. Share your hope with them. You know how good it is to be clean. And there's an old saying, the best is yet to come. And I kind of didn't get that when I was early on in recovery. I really struggled with it. I really struggled with I used to hear these people share. They've got 10 years abstinence, clean time. And I used to sit in meetings and they used to share how great it is. I used to think, have they actually got what I've got? Because I'm not feeling great. I've got a year without using, but all I'm thinking about is using drugs. That's all I want to do. All I'm thinking about every day is using drugs. Have they got what I've got? Because I don't know what I've got, but they must not have got what I've got. Anyway, but by being patient and being consistent and keeping clean, it did eventually come to me. It took me about 3 years before I started feeling all right, you know, that I had all these blessings, you know, and believe me, I have got the life, you know, that I've kind of always dreamt of. You know, to have that, to be enslaved to addiction for all them years, whatever it is, whatever addiction, whatever symptoms addiction was showing. We talk about addiction as being the main illness, where it is addiction, and then it's showing itself in different symptoms, where for me it showed itself, I wanted to use coke, I wanted to watch porn. The two things together blew my mind. It were the best thing ever, cocaine and porn. You know, the chemicals that were released at the same time from that were like, wow, nothing can beat this. No girlfriend, nothing. This is what I want. And so to get out of that, to pull myself out of that pit, you know, it took some doing, like for us all, whether it's your alcohol, whether it's your food, whether you're obsessed with your chocolate or whatever, it takes some doing to get out of that, you know. Sally?
So Julie says you're so right, she doesn't have another recovery in her. If she does drink again, it will kill her. And Kerry would like to know, what's the best way to help someone you love who is in addiction whilst keeping yourself safe and well?
Whoa, that's a big one, that, Kerry. First thing is working those boundaries, you know, putting boundaries in place, you know, that enabling, the fine line between enabling and loving someone. You know, a bit of tough love. I don't know the ins and outs, how much you've helped. Is it your son? What you've done for him? Obviously, you've experienced a lot of hurt, but you're doing things, you're probably doing things because you're being a mother and you want to give them money when they're asking for money, you want to bail them out from when they're in debt. You want to put a roof over their head when they've got nowhere to live. You want to feed them when they're hungry, which all loving parents want to do. But when you're doing all those things to somebody who's in active addiction, you're kind of adding to the problem. You are enabling his behaviour to carry on because he's not feeling the full effects of what he's doing. Because if he's spending his money that should be for food, if he's spending it on drugs, and then you're feeding him, then he's not feeling any. He's getting away with, isn't it? If he's spending his rent money on drugs and he's got nowhere to live and you're giving him a bed, then he's not feeling the effects of what he's doing, is he? And so on. He's got to feel some pain, some loss, and experience what he's doing and what money he's spending, and whether. But it's a fine line. It's for me. I put some distance in. I don't know how long you've been trying to help him or not. You know what you've done for him, what you haven't done. I don't know the ins and the outs. Maybe join a Zoom meeting at Kickback, that'd be a good one. Sally's put all details of Zoom meetings on the Monday evening at 6 o'clock, Wednesday morning at 10 o'clock. Get involved with some recovery education. Keep watching these lives, you know what I mean? Learn, it's all about this education we're doing. Learn from other people, even these people putting comments on. People comment, help this lady, put some of your experience on there so this lady can read, you know, what worked for you, what didn't work for you. But there's a fine line between the enabling and loving somebody. Expert, anything else?
There's a new lady called Sharon, actually, who's just joined the members group by pressing the link I've put on. I've just accepted her. She says that it's a thing around embarrassment for her, the embarrassment of going to a meeting just in case people you know might be there. And I believe one of her affected family members, that's what they keep saying to her. I'm not going in case somebody knows I'm at the meeting. And what should she say back? or what could she do?
I think it's about, Sharon, for me, I can experience it. I've been at meetings before. I was an Narcotics Anonymous meeting. I was doing service there, I was chairing the meeting. We just set a new Friday meeting up in Sheffield. And a guy walked in and we knew. And it was sort of the feeling of dread, the feeling of not so much embarrassment. I felt a bit around because I was chairing the meeting. I thought I had to be doing it a lot better than I actually was. But that's some of my issues, you know. I was in early recovery, you know. I was still working on myself. I can let all that stuff go now. But what we've got to become, I think for me and for other people, we have to become uncomfortable. You know, if you really want something, this is what I've learned. Sometimes we can stay at home. We can come up with all these excuses. I'm not going because of this, and I'm not going with that. When I became uncomfortable, that's where I grew, in those uncomfortable situations or feelings. You know, you're not doing it for anybody else. You've got to be doing it for you. If it's something you've got to do, these meetings, these fellowships are brilliant. They save lives. They change people's lives, and I'd be switching off from that and not listening to what other people. We did some stuff on. We did a teaching. If you want to look back on last Thursday's teaching, there's an hour on all that stuff about other people. And I'm not saying this lady is doing it, but other people will jump in and some people in relationships won't want to see you getting well or other people getting well. And if you are an affected family member, you are affected by other people's using. And sometimes, I'm not saying it is for everybody, but for sometimes the people around you aren't wanting, and I'm not saying this for you, aren't wanting the best for you. They kind of like you when your head's up your arse, when you're sitting down and having these type of conversations where you're on the back foot with stuff, what's happening. When you decide to make a decision, right, I'm going to a meeting, I'm going to get involved with Al-Anon, I'm going to get involved with Kickback Recovery as an effective family member, I'm going to learn about this illness, I'm going to learn about boundaries and how to put them in, healthy boundaries and how to use them. Some other people don't want to see you doing that. I'm not saying that other people are saying that to you, but just have a look back on last Thursday's recovery education, you'll get an idea what we were talking about and what we were teaching on. Anything else?
No, Lee's just said that he always tells himself when he feels like picking up a drink that it will pass.
Yeah, it's got to pass these feelings. I used to go down to see my drug worker. We talked about these feelings. I remember first going in when I was riddled with addiction. It were all over me. I was really unwell and I didn't know anything about addiction, whether an addict or was or not. All what I knew is I just wanted to use drugs all the time because whatever we're feeling, I didn't like it. I only liked it when I was using drugs and getting those intense feelings and chemicals released. And when I was high, and I never wanted to come down, I had to go in and sit down with somebody and they kind of said to me, these feelings will come in waves, ride the wave. And it's easy for somebody to say that, and I'm thinking, yeah, but I left those meetings and when these waves come, they were just too powerful and I used on it. But what I did, I learned about recovery. I went to a rehab and I got given the tools to use when these waves come. And it is right, these feelings are using, these obsessions, they soon shall pass. You've got another little tip, I don't know whether I'm getting it right, but what I learned is when I've got these feelings, I need to use now, I give it 10 minutes. No matter how bad you were, give it 10 minutes. Give it 10 minutes. And if it hasn't passed in 10 minutes, and you're still getting these feelings of using again, give it another 10 minutes. And if it hasn't passed then, and you did pick up, at least you're 20 minutes into not using, you've had 20 minutes without using. And it's just little things like that and building up on those things, Another guy told me about this addiction when I went to have some PSI stuff. It was like, say that addiction is a baby chick that's in a nest. And what happens to a baby chick? When you go and look in a nest, we can all remember, we've all looked in a nest. I see little birds with their mouths open. So that's addiction, and the chick wants feeding. If you feed the chicks, feed the addiction, give it a maggot or give it some drugs, it'll keep opening its mouth and it'll want more and more and more. But if you didn't feed that chick, it'd die. And that's what hopefully it'll happen around the obsessions of using. If you don't feed them, eventually they'll die. And that's another analogy that you can kind of use. Sally?
Just some support from Sharon to the other Sharon. She says you do need the support of people who are going through the same. If you're an affected family member, everything said in meetings is between the group only, and it's a safe place to be. It's so much better than suffering at home. And Jill has just put your sobriety or abstinence is important to you. If it's important to you, it shouldn't matter who's at a meeting. It can be embarrassing, but you need to be well.
That's it. We can't do it on our own, guys. Whether you are an affected family member or whether you are somebody still in the midst of it all, in his addiction, be somebody in long-term recovery, you still to get that quality and that maintenance stuff. You can't do it on your own. There's another term called the dry drug syndrome, where some people have done it. They put the drink down, they put the drugs down on their own, but they still got the head of somebody who's still using because they've done nothing else with their life. You come to meetings, you get to know about, you can get volunteering, get involved with volunteering, you can get involved with like-minded people. You can share your own experience with, even if you're an affected family member. I say even if you're an affected family, it's a massive, we love everybody at Kickback, but if you're an affected family member, you can come to Kickback meetings like Sharon does. There will be another affected family member that comes in, cleaning, Sharon can then say hello to this person. She can share her experience. She can help her. She can talk about boundaries. She can talk about a bit of tough love. She can talk about, pulling away a little bit, not enabling by giving them money or somewhere to stay or feeding them. When some people in active addiction just take the piss out of family, the loved ones, don't they? They use, I'm going to commit suicide, I'm going to go and commit a crime, I'm going to do something. They'll do anything to get money. And they'll play loved ones on the love for them. Where and I've heard it, where Sharon might go into a person and give her son 20 quid because she don't want anything in doing all them stuff, but then they go out and use. How do you get out of that? It's yeah. Anything else? Any more, Sally?
No. Just Paul Daniels saying you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
You do find out who's actually in your corner in life when you're in recovery.
And I didn't want to come across, to anybody. I know we all have good friends. We all have lovely people who want the best for us. But there is people who become, they kind of buzz off our miseries at times. I've done it before. I'd have people, I would sit round and I'd be sharing how much money I'd done in, what a mess I made at my home. I've had to get workmen in because of my mental health. I'd smash stuff in at home with paranoia and psychosis. This is years ago, this is like over 10 years ago, whatever, when I were really, really poorly, when I was using, them times it were like legal highs. I got involved with them, this MCAT and stuff like that. And I thought, legal highs, well, it can't be that bad. So I ordered some stuff, it was like plant food over internet, and it was really, really strong, and it was cheap. And I used to mix it in with cocaine, I used to have it on its own, and I used to have these sessions on this MCAT stuff, and that proper sent me around a twist. A legal high, how can that be ever legal? But people used to love it, when I used to share all this, all my misery and my mess, what had happened to me, when I talked about I've got to go in rehab and that. People are kind of buzz off it, how the mighty have fallen. Ex-girlfriends, how the mighty have fallen. Look at you now. I told you I'd do better than you. Look where you are. You're 45-year-old sat in a rehab. My name's Mick, I'm an addict. Today's different. Anybody out there listening? My name's Mick and I'm a grateful recovering addict. I haven't used drugs for coming up to 6 years. I've got a job. I'm in a relationship. I'm the founder. I'm the CEO of Kickback Recovery Community, CIO, a registered charity based in Sheffield that helps a lot of people. That's what I'm involved with today. And all the misery all over the years, those decades of using, those times I've sat in a house on my own, in my own mess, with dirty pants on, with drugs paraphernalia all over. We're feeling really isolated. Nobody else's fault except mine. This is not a sympathy thing. All that, I pulled myself out of that. Today, I'm a productive member of society. Yeah, a bit of fellowship talk and that, but that's what I am. I am a productive member of society, and I've done that. I put all the action in for that. I've had all the guidance. I've had lots of help, but I've done all that work. That's what I mean. With the help of other people. Any other questions?
Jessica's just said, going back to what you were saying about what you can do to affected family members to get them to give you money. She said, I did that so much to my mum. She'd never want me to be at risk of harm, so she would always give me some money.
Oh, yeah. So we play people, don't we? You know, it's we did it when we in active addiction. We manipulate, we control outcomes. We try to control outcomes. We blag for some people. We sell as bodies. God love them. You know, we've done some drug dealing. You know, I used to graft for many years. You know, all that went on kind of drugs. I flushed big amounts of drugs down toilets because I got that paranoid and I thought I could go out there and do it all again. I messed deals up. I messed my life up. I messed my family life up. I messed everything up through putting drugs first. Today's totally different. For you guys out there who are listening, recovery is possible. You can get well. If I can do it, I've just shared some little bits of mine. You know, I've made myself vulnerable. I've shared some truth where addiction took me to. You know what I mean? And if it hasn't took you guys there yet, carry on using. I will repeat myself. Carry on using. It will take you there. You're not better than anybody else. You know, it will, Sally.
My friend Kirsty, she just put here, I'm a friend of Sally, and this has popped up. I'm not an addict, but I've watched, and this is just amazing. Had me in happy tears. And so many people just saying thank you for your honesty, Mick, and this has made me smile, and just appreciating just how proud you are and what you've shared.
Yeah, brilliant. But remember, people, I can't do this on my own. I need people like Sally. I need a trustee management team. I need Keep Back Recovery Service members like Sharon, like Lee, like Danny, like Gilly, and lots more. There's a lot of people. People like Shane Kimbley, you know, I've got respect for jumping on and watching us. All I ask, this is all free, this. We're never ever going to do this. There's free live feeds a week. We don't want no money. There's no subscriptions. You know, I ain't got all the answers. I'll just share a bit of my knowledge. You know, I won't get it right some at times. I might say things that contradict what I've just said. But it's coming from a good place. And it's coming from a place of love and wanting to help people. I want to share what I've got. You know what I mean? If I can be an embarrassment to society, which I was, if I can be the person who was locked in a room, isolating, with a £20 note shoved up his nose for days on end, obsessed with a porn, you know, not cleaning, not washing, if I can be that person that then pulls himself out, if there is anybody at home today and feeling a bit depressed and all what I've talked about, jump in shower, run yourself a hot bath, get some bubbles in, get curtains open. Even if you don't want to do it, let some sunlight in, open a window, stick some music on, look at all the times and dates when we do kickback live feeds, Zoom meetings Monday at 6 o'clock, Zoom meetings Wednesdays at 10 o'clock, jump on. It's not like this, nobody's watching this, it's all a safe place. It's all confidential. Book onto a bit of one-to-one with me if you want. You can do that through our page, Kickback Recovery, big page, coming up to 22,600, coming up to 22,700 followers. Please help us out by inviting people to like this page. That's all I ask. That's all we want. We want to get up to 23,000 followers. We're worldwide. We've got people from all over the world. That's all I ask. Share this video. It doesn't cost you anything. Invite people to like our page. Join the Kickback Recovery members group, which is a private page. Sally's put it on. There's a thing that you can click on that'll take you to join it. Don't answer the questions, just ask to join. We'll accept you. There's how much on that? There's 3,200 followers worldwide. You can post on that. You can get support 24/7. You can share what's happening for you in your life today. The good, the bad, the ugly, whatever, you can share that. Sally, what's happening?
Just Kirsty's just put here that she wishes her daughter had engaged in something like this before she got pregnant. Now our granddaughter has fetal alcohol syndrome and she's lost custody of her at birth.
Oh, wow. Sorry to hear that. But listen, all is not lost. You know, people can get themselves well. I know people through fellowships, through being in recovery for over seven years. I know people who have lost their kids. I know that people have had the kids took away from at birth. I know people who have got the kids back. You know, these stories of people coming into these fellowships, walking in through the doors, heroin addicts, prostitutes, that have worked on themselves and in years then become barristers. You know what I mean? They've got educated. They've gone from a crack, somebody who's addicted to crack who sells the body, to in 8 or 9 years or something, to a woman who's working in London in the courts as a barrister. The recovery is possible. These are all true stories. But I'm just one little success story. You know, and there's lots of people who do this. I'm not the only one. I'm not telling or showing people how to suck eggs who've been around in long-term recovery. I'm not at all. I'm just sharing what my personal recovery journey. I'm sharing our registered charity. I want people to get involved. All we're asking is for people to get people to invite people to like this page. You know, give us some support. Help us let Facebook notice us by when we go live. This is what it's about, so we can get these stars where we can put money into our bank account, where we can put fundraisers out there and just carry this message of recovery. I can't do it on my own. I've come this far. I can't go any further on my own. I need people like you guys to help me. And this is all you've got to do today, is just invite people to like this page. Next Tuesday, 9:30 till 10:30, put a little reminder on your phone, put it in your calendar, write it down in your desk at work. Just make a little note. Thursday evening at 5:30, recovery education. We do PowerPoint stuff. As a group, we share, we teach.
If people want reminders as well, they can go onto the Kickback Recovery main page, and at the top where events are, you can just press going and it'll give them a notification 20 minutes before to pop on and watch.
Sally's going to do all the kind of kickback information, you know, what's it actually called, Sally? Where reminders and stuff, events.
Event reminders.
So we're going to put these events on so you can look at when the next event is and how long it's for. Make time. Use this as just part of your recovery program. It's free. If you look how many hours you put into your using, what lengths you went for, how many miles you've walked to school when you didn't have enough money for a taxi, how many supermarkets you've walked to and gone to another one because you felt embarrassed going into the same shop all the time. Look at all effort you put into your drinking and using. Put as much effort into your recovery. And even if you're not in recovery, keep watching this stuff, because I'm sure this eventually will give you the desire and the support to think, I've had enough. I've had enough of feeling shit. I've had enough of having no money because I spent it all on booze. I've had enough of buying everybody a drink. I've had enough of getting all my fags away and being took for a mug and that. I've had enough of that. I want to change. I want a good life. It's all there waiting for you.
Sharon says Sally needs a raise.
Sally does need a raise. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So what time are we on?
We've actually went over for it.
Wow, so that's over an hour. So that's another one. That's our second recovery. What is it? The recovery hour with Mick Hartley. Tune in next Tuesday, 9:30 till 10:30 a.m.
And final comment, just rounds up why we do it. Paul has put, he woke up this morning feeling shy for a number of reasons. He's feeling so much better now for listening and listening in. Thank you.
Yeah, good stuff. Right, I'm going to leave it at that, guys. So I'm going to go and get some sun. I think we're going on a catamaran ride today. We're going swimming. Yeah, so and then we're flying home tonight. It's been 5 days for Sally Reedman's 40th birthday. It's the birthday that's gone for about 2 weeks. I'm exhausted. You know, birthday this, birthday that. It's so that's over with now. So we're coming back to Sheffield. So thank you for everybody who supports our cause, wherever you are in the world. If you are watching us or have watched us, or you do watch this video after it stopped being live, just put a little comment on where you're from, whereabouts in the world you're from, so we do get the stats up anyway, but it's nice for other people to look at the comments and see that people have watched it from all over the world. Lots of love to everybody. I'm so grateful thanks for all the support. Keep watching us. We're coming on live again Thursday at 5:30 UK time, for 1 hour of recovery education. God bless everybody. I'm just going to show you before we go. It's that way, isn't it?
It is that way. Yeah.
Right. Sorry, I get a bit mixed up. So this is bye-bye from Mijas. Can you hear the crickets? Yeah, thanks for everybody's support. Can't do it without you guys. And we'll see you Thursday at 5:30 UK time. Thank you.